What's up, everybody? This is Fred, the Found Footage Fiend, and welcome back to my Horror Corner. I hope you're all having a great day, great week, and just want to send nothing but positive vibes and energy out there. With that being said, let's go ahead and tackle this conclusion in the Hell House series together. We are looking at Stephen Cognetti's 2019 Hell House LLC, Lake of Fire, or Hell House Part 3. Just the easier way to say it, the shorter way to say it, of course. And the story follows, well, really quick, it's actually the same director, which I absolutely love that he went and made all three of these movies. Same distributor, Terror Films, and exclusively released on Shudder in September 2019. So the story follows 9 years after the first movie, and about 1 year after the second movie. The Abaddon Hotel is being set to be demolished when entrepreneur and billionaire Russell Wynn comes in and buys out the building. And for what purpose? He wants to reopen it again. Oh shit, dude. I feel bad for this town. Like, they have been going through a lot of stuff throughout the years, and not just the Hell House stuff. I'll touch up a little bit on that later. But he wants to go ahead and reopen it for his interactive live theater performance of this play named Faust. And I thought that was okay. It's going back to its roots. And by that, what I mean is it's dropping what it did in the second movie, thankfully. And it's going back to like the first movie style, where it's doing mockumentary and found footage cut in between that. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it, because I feel like so this movie's mockumentary side isn't the stronger point. I feel like the found footage side is more stronger. And the first movie, I felt like the mockumentary side was the strongest. So I kind of just like that kind of parallel between the first and the third movie. I don't even want to talk about the second movie that much. So I'm just going to say that now. There's very little it wasn't really needed. There was like little bits and pieces of information we got from the second movie that could have been easily added on this third movie. I just don't get the second movie. And he invites the Morning Mysteries crew to go ahead and document his whole process. But he also has a different intention as well that we'll get into later. But once again, of course, on opening night, something fucking crazy happens. And when we are watching the mockumentary side of this movie, that's actually taking place after the entire events in the movie, which I thought was pretty cool. And she is smart, because when she's invited, she basically rejects the offer, right off the bat. She's like, no way. I forgot what the incentive was for her to finally go and do this, but she was very hesitant about going. And she's smart. I guess not that smart because she ultimately went, but I don't think I would have went, especially if I worked for a place where some crew fucking disappeared and never was heard of again. Why would you want to go back to that same place where your old crew disappeared? So this movie does have a lot of illogical things like that. It just doesn't make sense. But overall, I feel like it's just a well done. It's very well made, for sure. It's a decent wrap up story. There's going to be loose ends. It's not perfect, of course, but I really enjoyed this movie's cast and crew. One big like of mine was the chemistry in this movie. And if you want to, I said I wasn't going to talk about the second movie, but I have to, I guess. The one thing I did not like about the second movie is everything felt very fake. The characters, they just didn't come off genuine. If you look at the cast in the first movie, you can feel this type of bonding between the first crew. And then we have two different kind of crews here in the third movie. We're following Vanessa and her cameraman. That's one group. And then we have the entire cast of Insomnia and Russell Wynn's group. And I really enjoy these people. So the cast goes, we have Russell Wynn, the entrepreneur. He is played by a Gabriel Chitry. I'm sorry if I say that wrong. I say this in every video. I'm so bad with names. So I apologize if I said your name wrong. We also follow Vanessa, the Morning Mysteries journalist. She is played by Elizabeth Vermilia. We have Jeff, who is Russell's second in command type of guy. He's the guy with the clipboard. He's always overseeing everything. He wasn't a bad character. He is played by Sam Causey. And we also have Gregory. He's one of the characters, one of the character actors in the movie. He's played by Leo DeFriend. And then we have probably by far my favorite character, one of the two favorite characters in the movie. and it's gonna be the character Max, played by Jordan Kaplan. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, dude. Again, I'm so bad with names. And I mean, there's like, this movie has a lot of people. I didn't look up his name, and I still feel so bad. But when I said one of the two characters that I really like, the other character I really like is this guy in the movie named Harvey. And I mean, he's pretty much a walking stereotype, like, of a gay person. You know, he's very feminine, but I fucking love him, dude. Like, him and the other character in the movie, Max. Whenever these two people were on the screen, I don't know. I personally like it. It brought a lot of entertainment for me. The chemistry just works so well. There's a scene in the beginning of the movie when they're doing introductions. Russell Wynn, he's introducing everybody to Vanessa because he hired them to document everything. And she's going over everything with them. Like, she hands everybody cameras and she tells them, we want you to just document whatever you guys want. If you guys are just kind of joking behind the scenes, or if you guys are rehearsing, you know, just document whatever. That way we can all edit it into the show. So boom, justification. Why are we always recording? It's okay. It's not a bad reason. You know, it's better than just not giving just a reason why somebody is constantly picking up a camera and just recording with it. Area 407. But I loved how they joke around here, because this is probably one of my favorite lines in the movie. One of the dudes, what's his name? I think his name was Gregory. He asked, "What if we see a ghost?" And everybody's kind of laughing. I think he was kind of serious in asking that, but everybody's kind of laughing. And even Russell's like, "Well, in your case, you know, you could ask the ghost if he's ever heard of you, if he's ever seen any of your work, if he's seen maybe your work reel." And I love how they give each other shit, but this is the best part. Then we have homeboy Max, and he comes in with an impression.
Some of your work, perhaps?
I was in a little thing called Shakespeare in the Park with Amy Adams, right? Have you heard of it?
It was
I fucking love that part. That is one of the fucking funniest lines in the movie for me. And all throughout, like, there's another scene where they're having a bonfire, and you just feel like like they've worked together in the movie, because they have known each other for a few years. They've been doing this play with Russell, so it feels like they genuinely either know each other, or they just mesh that well with one another, because the bonfire scene is really good. Another good scene of great chemistry. It's basically after rehearsal, and you have some of the people from Insomnia. They're just kind of drinking. They're kind of just giving each other shit. They're like kind of daring each other to go into the basement and like touch a clown. And I just love, like, I sound like a broken record at this point, but for me, just the chemistry and the way these people interacted with one another, at least the Insomnia cast, they did that really well. So at some point in this movie, they did this in the second one. They hinted at what's to come in the third movie, but this one's hinting at what's to come for the series. Now, I seen the director on Twitter talk about something called the Abaddon tapes. I'll have to look more into it. I should have looked more into it now, but it's only like little stuff that I've been hearing about. It's going to be like a spin-off series, and they kind of mention it in here because there's a part where they're talking about Vanessa. She's done some research on the town, and she says that Hell House is only the most popular incident that's happened, but there have been other incidents in the early 2000s, and she talks about something about a fair and some Billy something story, but the fair one is important. It's important, so. The fair article she's reading is pretty important because it's going to play huge into the Abaddon tapes. They bring up this fair 2 times, and I feel like they're kind of, that's like the big hint. And the only reason I kind of know this is because I saw the tweet of the director, Stephen Cognetti, talking about some type of concept that he wants to do. He showed 2 pictures. One pictures of a line outside of New York's Hell House where the first crew, we might even get, the first crew back and like a prequel or type of thing. I just thought about that. Boom, awesome. But the first picture is like a concept of a line like waiting to go inside the New York location of Hell House. And the second picture is of this fair that happened in the early 2000s. So I really like that they touch up on this kind of things, and I'm really looking forward to the spin-off series. At some point in this movie, because essentially the story is about, this whole trilogy is about Russell Wynn. And I'm trying not to spoil too much if you can't tell. I'm trying to be as vague as possible. I know I said a couple of things, but I'd rather not spoil this one for you guys. and just it's because it's a conclusion, and I don't want to give that away. I don't want to ruin anything for anybody if they haven't seen it. I try to always say spoilers in my tags. This one I'm going to try to do less spoilers. So there's a part where there's a priest, and we get a lot of religious aspects of this movie that I never thought about much before. And I almost see Russell Wynn as this type of not necessarily a prophet, but he plays such a huge role in all three of these movies without us knowing it. Now, it was shoehorned in because I feel like the first movie has almost no religious aspects as much as this does. Yeah, they find like some occult stuff in the first movie at the bottom, and you find out a little bit about Andrew Tully, but the second and third really, especially the third one, really hits you hard with that. I personally didn't mind it, but I can see why some people might just kind of find that off-putting. So I'm going to start off with my dislikes first. There's a lot of illogical things that just do not make sense. Like why people don't raise questions when there probably should be questions raised. I.e., there's a part where one of the girls that works on the cast for Insomnia, I think she does makeup. She ends up having her own little experience. She sees an old, dead person. I don't want to give it away, but she sees somebody in the building who's a ghost. And it freaks her the fuck out, and she books it. Now, they even bring this up in the mockumentary form, is that she was posting a lot on social media. Okay, she was taking selfies, whatever. But the guy even goes, if you read the comments, you can really see what people are starting to notice in the background. And this part was very not subtle. This might be a spoiler, but it might not be. But the girl, she's taking selfies, and you can clearly see there's fucking people in the background from the first movie. They're all dead. All the whole crew of the first movie is completely dead. But you see them in the background of this girl's selfies. And what? That doesn't make any sense. And this is all on social media, and all these people see it too. But I don't know. I just felt like that was so weird and not very subtle. And I don't know what they were thinking on that one. Another thing that I didn't like is we're still kind of left with a lot of unanswered questions. One of my questions is, where is Mitchell? Because in the first movie, he was left with, in the second movie, I believe if I heard it right, he was left with a choice of who to live and who to die. Either he can die or he can give up the life of the journalist in the second movie. And the journalist is dead because she's all demon faced. So where is this dude? And there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense when you really kind of think about it. There's a part where Russell is given a box by the priest, and inside this box is some type of something. We don't really know what it is, and that it's supposed to come into play, but it never really does, and I never really see it. I've tried looking at the very end if I can see Russell holding anything that might have been what was in the box. What's in the box? But that's just I don't know. Maybe they're gonna save it for the Abaddon tapes, but I feel like that's dumb. They needed to just conclude this series and answered everything that they fucking put out there. But of course they didn't, and it's just But I try to look past that. And another thing, okay, so it said that Alex from the first movie, the dude that ran Hell House, opened the gate. That was never really cleared up on how, but why are they still stuck in the house? If you watch the movie and you see the very end, because the end will still leave you a little confused. Why are they stuck in the house? Why don't they move on after everything's said and done? So again, it might just be for the Abaddon tapes. I don't know. It's so weird. Another thing I don't like is there's two endings technically. There's the ending before the ending. Now I really like the very end of the movie. I don't want to go too much into it, but I very much enjoyed that last scene. It felt very gut-wrenching and sad, and it was just very nice to see familiar faces again though. But it was very sad to have that realization of what they have to accept from here on out. And it was just a very cool portrayal of the state that they're in, or that's as vague as I'm gonna be. But the ending prior to that, holy shit. It's one of those movies where it just kind of goes balls to the wall crazy at the end. And the only thing I like about it is there's like a lot of blood. You see people getting like stabbed. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I guess we get blood. But it's just like who's doing the stabbing is so annoying. Once again, we have like these hooded fucking figures running around, chasing, coming at you, lunging at you. They don't seem very menacing. I'm sure there in the moment it's fucking scary as hell. But watching on screen, I don't know. I just find it very cringy. We also see Andrew Tully once again. Not very menacing, not very, just, oh man, I don't understand if it's the writing with his character or if it's the actor it's himself, but there's just, every time I see this villain come on the screen, it's just a fucking eye roll for me. So, I probably already went through them, but some of my likes, again, was mostly the cast of Insomnia. The characters Max and Harvey were by far the most entertaining part of the movie. There's a lot of good scenes with them, a lot of good banter. They play jokes on one another. Another thing that I really like is just, like I said earlier, the little tiny hints at what's to come. And I'm very excited for fucking Abaddon tapes. I personally love the series. Overall, I enjoyed the story it was trying to portray. You have good versus evil ultimately, like in any story. But it's just done in a very... It tried, and I can see that, and I can appreciate that. How about that? So really quick, some of my favorite scenes also is the Shakespeare in the Park bit. That was just so fucking funny. I love it. There's probably the best scare, or like the most unsettling moment. And I'll go ahead and give this a spoiler because it's probably even in the trailer. They're out at that bonfire, and I think Greg chickens out on the dare, and I forgot her name. I think her name is Jane. She's like, fuck it, I'll do it. I'll go down there. And you get this camera. She gets the camera and she's walking all the way down to the basement. We hear a little bit of the piano playing and we get the clown back. And now this time, they don't overuse the clown, which I fucking love. It's just a lot. He's scary again. He's fucking terrifying. It's the same clown, but they kind of did something a little imaginative with it, if you will. The dare is to go down in the basement and just touch the clown on the nose and then head back. And she's like doing the camera thing, like, fuck it, I'm gonna give you guys a little bonus. And she goes in and she, starts kissing the clown. And the whole time, she has the camera, she has the camera facing her so you can see whatever's behind her or anything. And this is by far the most unsettling part because all three clowns are lined up face forward, right? So she leans in, does the kiss or whatever, and she leans back. She's like, done, bitches. And when she leans back, that fucking clown's head is just turned looking at her. And you can just see her face completely change from, just because she was pretty ballsy. She didn't give a fuck. She was walking down there like nothing. But once this fucking clown turned its head, her face just instantly. And it like follows her as she's moving up. And she starts jetting it. And she turns around, the clown is just completely standing up. And I was just like, holy shit. That was done very fucking well, in my opinion. And I really enjoyed the Russell Wynn character. He was almost like a savior to the people for the movie. You'll see what I mean if you ever watch it. And I'm sorry if you were expecting spoilers. I'm entirely not sure how people feel. I have a small, very, very small audience. So I'm not sure if anybody's still watching, but let me know if you would prefer me to just go into spoilers in these longer videos or not. Because I'm saving my short videos for non-spoiler reviews, but I just felt like since this was a conclusion, I'd much rather just not spoil it for you and just have you watch it and then come back and let me know what you thought, if you want to. If not, then whatever. But like ultimately, I enjoyed this movie for what it is and its story that it was trying to tell. It's not perfect for sure. I'm talking about the third movie right now, not the whole series in general. But it's definitely not perfect. Nor is it fucking bad. And I've talked to people and they say they generally just hate Hell House 2 and 3. And I can understand the hate for the second one. I feel like this one, I don't know. I just feel like it might be misunderstood. Maybe people see it and we're just expecting a lot more, or they're just not looking too much into it, or maybe I'm just looking too much into it. But ultimately, I feel like it was a very well done story and a decent found footage movie for sure. And if I just had to give this some type of rating, I'm gonna go ahead and rate this a solid 2.5 out of 5. Happy Spookies!